Hey guys, one rule for them, one rule for us. Are you guys hating American crime like we are? Welcome to the American Crime After Show. I'm your host, Drexel Heard, here with Mercedeh Allen, Miss Meghan Lamontagne, and Mr. Jack Hind over there.
Hello,
We just
guys.
finished another incredible episode, third episode of ABC's new hit show, American Crime. What did you guys think of tonight's show?
Okay, I'll speak first. I thought it was really good. I mean, I always think the show is good, but I feel like that we do have so many storylines and so many characters. I just felt like we just got a tidbit from each of one of them, but I wanted more. Like maybe leave some characters out of it for an episode so we can get more on other characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I wanted more.
I totally agree. I'm gonna piggyback off of you,
Yeah,
Megan.
girl.
Yeah,
Piggyback.
totally. Yeah, because I feel like every episode is introducing new characters. So I'm tired of the new characters. I wish that we could just figure something out with the characters that we already have and maybe move forward from there. But I thought tonight was good. It was a little bit slow. I thought last week was better. So maybe it'll be like a pattern, like so great, so great. I don't know.
I thought I'm completely different to the ladies that you just heard from. I actually thought tonight's episode was really good. I thought it really answered a lot of our questions from the first and second episode. I mean, still after the first episode, I did rewatch it finally, and a lot of our questions were answered, but we all still had unanswered questions from the first and second episode, and I feel like this one, I mean, how much came out? We finally got to hear about Caitlin, which is great. We saw no depth to either of them two characters, and the characters that we haven't seen depth to yet, we finally got to see. So that was why I
got a
enjoyed
little
this
of the
episode.
That was the
Sister.
one character that I did, Aubry. I was really appreciative of her
I called
storyline.
her Caitlin. That was her name, but Aubrey, you know.
She looks like a Caitlin.
She looks like,
She looks like
her
a
name's
Caitlin.
Caitlin. It's
Oh, in
Caitlin
real life.
Gerard.
Oh,
the
yeah.
actress is Caitlin.
That's why I said Caitlin.
Well, that's why she looks like a Caitlin.
I
guess.
thought the episode, I'm going to piggyback on what Jack said. I thought the episode was really great. What I love about this show is how real it is. There were so many real, like, things that people say in their real life in this episode that you have conversations like the conversation that Jenny had with her brother, just that relationship that they had. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Just the conversation that Barb had with Russ and just their relationship.
And then
so
Tom and
many
Eve.
real things, and Tom and Eve, just real situations that I think people are going through every day. Okay, so we have a lot to cover this episode. We're going to jump right in, but we definitely want to know what you guys are thinking about this episode, so make sure you're hashtagging American Crime AS on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Okay, so we started the episode out with Barb and Nancy, her advocate for the whole case, trying to convince the lawyer about reverse racism, hate
The
crime.
bias, what was it? Bias. Oh, what was the special term that she used? The lawyer used. It was bias. Someone help me out.
I can't remember what it was, but I know where you're going with
Basically,
that.
basically, it was all about hate crimes. It was
Yeah.
all about
Yeah.
wanting somebody to get arrested and charged with a hate crime. And Barb says that line that I said at the beginning, one rule for them, one rule for us. We don't deserve to be treated equal, because she feels like and what she said was, if a black person shoots or if a white person shoots a black person, they charge them with a hate crime. If a black person shoots a white person, or a white person shoots a black person, they don't.
No,
They,
you said
black
it right.
person shoots a white person,
Yeah.
they don't charge them with a hate crime. And I think that's where she wanted to go. She felt that Matt's killer should be charged with a hate crime. Do you guys feel like that? You guys feel like
I
Barb?
mean, but we don't know who the killer is
I
yet.
feel like we shouldn't separate. It's a crime, end of story. It's not a
Right.
hate crime. It's not a bias crime.
Right.
It's
Right.
just a crime. The whole thing that then takes it to a hate crime and a bias crime is her saying it's a hate crime.
Exactly.
It's a bias crime. It's
And
not.
she felt, and she
it's just
she
a
felt
crime.
that she brought up a lot of the comments from the past.
Yes.
I
Now that
assume
would
that was
make
Carter.
it a hate crime.
Right,
I
and the
feel
comments
like
that they
for
had
sure.
in the past.
Although
The comments that were made about killing a white person, and
If
then
they were all
that's
true,
what I
yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's what I
that
was
is
going to bring
true,
up.
but we still don't know who the killer is, so
Right.
it still might not be.
So
Do you
wait.
think they were Carter's comments? I don't
Carter-
know.
Well, that's the
whose
thing. They
comments
have
they
they
were.
have someone quoted
No, I
saying
don't
it,
know.
but they didn't say who. They didn't say who.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because
Why
I don't
would
think
Carter
Carter's the
say that
killer.
about white
Killer.
people? He's with
A white
Aubrey. He's
woman.
with a white woman. He's in love with a
Yeah.
white
Actually,
woman.
that's a huge point.
Why
Right.
would he? That's as soon as she said that, I was like, but did he really quote that?
So we have
he's with a white
quotes,
woman.
and we have Carter,
But we
who's
don't have
charged
a
with the
connection.
murder, but there's no connection.
connection.
And we don't, I think as a panel, don't think that Carter murdered Matt.
Right.
I
No.
don't.
No.
Right.
One of the other big things that happened with Russ and Barb is that Russ served Barb papers for Matt's body. One of the questions that I have for you guys is, which parent do you, I mean, obviously both parents should come together, but I feel like Russ, I feel, is in the right because his heart's in the right place. Barb has another agenda. So I don't know. I feel like Russ should be the person to kind of help guide Matt's body through this process, or to have some sort of say in this, because Barb is on a mission. She's on a completely different mission. She's not really focused on her dead son. What do you guys feel about that?
Well, I mean, Twitter blew up over at this point when they were saying the best part was when she got served. Everyone was like, "You got served, Felicity." I'm not gonna lie, I was having a giggle on Twitter as well. It did make me laugh. But I can see that. I think we need to find out what happened and who happened and what happened to who. Because obviously we just saw at the, we're probably going to touch on it in a little while, but we saw when Eve gave us a little more insight into Gwen and Matt's relationship. And I feel like when we get more of a fixed opinion on what their relationship was like, that was when we should decide where the bodies go.
Right.
If I were Barb, just trying to stick up for her character for a moment.
Yeah, somebody's sticking for Barb.
Because
I mean,
and I get why people
stick up her
are
ass.
they think that she's playing, well, Felicity Huffman's playing her character brilliantly. This woman is focused, she's a little crazy, but at the end of the day, she brought up both of her sons on her own.
Right.
And I'm not saying that one parent should have the right over the other, but I'm saying I am more in favor of Barb having a choice of what to do with her son's body over Russ.
That's respectable. Mercedeh, what do you think about that?
What do I think just about Barb?
Just, I think everybody has a hate relationship with Barb right now,
Right.
but just this idea that Russ wants control over Matt's body.
Of where the body goes. I mean, yeah, I definitely think that it has to be a joint decision, you know? They're both the parent at the end of the day, even though Barb, you know, is responsible for raising her son. I still feel like Russ is more level-headed for some reason. Barb is just a little
Well, it's because
off
she has
the
an
barbed
agenda.
wire.
I'm going
Off the barbed wire.
I'm going to
Hashtag
contradict you.
off the
Off the
barbed
barbed
wire.
wire. That is brilliant.
That's good, that's
Hashtag
good,
off the
I like
barbed
that.
wire. Well done, Merce.
I like that.
I actually think Russ is the most uncomfortable of all this, you know. I think because he wasn't in their life. He did have issues in the beginning. He wasn't always there. And now all of a sudden he's like, shit, my bad. He's like, damn, my son's dead. What's he going to do? What does he do
Which is the
now?
point that Barb made at the beginning in
Yeah.
the first episode, which was, you come right now when your son is dead.
Exactly, and she also quoted in this one as well. You think you don't know what to do with your sons, but you know what a woman in a what a woman in a coma wants. And it's like,
Speaking
that's what Russ is going
of
through.
parents
Right.
in conflict, we also have the Carlins, Tom and Eve, Tom is now on a mission like Barb. But Eve, one of the points that Jack brought up was that Eve has so much backstory on Gwen.
Yeah.
So we got to see this, you know, Gwen was not happy in her marriage. Eve knew about it
And didn't
say anything. But one of the
Yeah.
things that one of the things that was really striking in that is that Eve was very conflicted because they're a very devout family. So Eve has, you know, she said that she was okay with Gwen sleeping around, but wanted her to stay with Matt. Do you guys feel like that was
Yeah, that wasn't very sound advice. I feel like as a mother, I mean, you're either in your marriage or you're not. I don't believe in being married and not or sleeping around, you know, so definitely.
She said how she took her vow, and because she took this vow, this is why she
That's
could
why she
never
has to
leave
stay.
Matt. That's why she has to stay with him.
No, that's
Which
why
is
you should
in-
leave.
Yeah, in my opinion as well. I agree with you, Merce. I agree.
Yeah.
She should
I don't
have got
know.
out of that.
Well, I get where you guys are coming from. I think in not Gwen. What's her mom's name?
Eve.
I think in Eve's generation, it's like you're in a marriage and you made a vow and you made a commitment and people's lives go haywire and crazy, but she was more or less saying like, you know, listen, this is your husband and he has an issue with drugs and you guys need to work this out together. I mean, people make mistakes and things happen, and I mean,
I'm sorry to
You know,
interrupt
That's
you.
that's the light way of looking at things.
Yeah,
That's a very
because
nice, light-hearted way of looking
No,
at it.
because
I'll
Eve
give you that.
definitely said that she was scared about the people that he was hanging around. So if Matt's hanging around
that's
these
the only
dangerous
thing I would say.
people,
If you're
she's
threatened,
a very-
if you feel threatened for your life, that's when you should get out.
I-
If you're being abused, you should get out.
She's
But
she's a very
The
that's a very
signs
conflicted person.
I'll tell you what,
work
the last
there.
thing I do want to say about that though is Tom is the dad. The dad's
He's
Tom or
unraveling.
Tim? What one is it?
Tom.
I want to
Tom.
call him
Tom.
Tim.
Tom
I don't know
Carlin.
why, I just want to call you Tim. Tom Carlin did absolutely incredible in that scene.
Yeah.
Like I have
Yes.
an older sister
W. Earl
myself,
Jones,
and when he was what's the
fantastic.
actor's name?
W. Earl Brown.
W.L. Brown. W.L. Brown.
Yeah.
Earl Brown, you did brilliant. I mean, just watching that, and you could really feel the emotion. When she was saying this about his daughter, he was disgusted.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
to the point. And I just thought he was brilliant in that part. It really touched me.
It was a great
Really,
scene.
really
Yeah,
did.
because
All
I
right.
can relate to that too, just being an only child. Sometimes you happen to tell your mom stuff, but you don't tell your dad
Well,
stuff.
that's
So
absolutely
that
right.
scene was
Girl,
very
I'm with you.
relatable.
I'm with you, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we want to know what you guys think about Barb, Russ, and the Carlins. So make sure you are hashtagging American Crime AS and joining us the conversation on YouTube. So next we move on to Alonzo, Tony, and Hector. Tony's still in jail. Right now it's like the Hispanics versus the white kids in the jail. The white kids are still kind of bullying Tony while he's in jail. Jenny goes to visit Tony. She's trying to convince Tony to let Alonzo come to visit him.
What a
He
lovely
still has
scene.
not to visit Tony. He still hasn't come to visit. And then Alonzo's brother shows up to the house, and he starts
Brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law.
So that's the dead wife's brother, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Just double checking, just making sure.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, she comes up to the house and starts kind of. One of the things I like about this show is that they started to talk about real things that have happened recently. So the brother-in-law brings up SB 1070, which is Arizona's bill that happened last year, where cops could check immigration status right on the spot, and stop and frisk, which is in Arizona as well as New York. So there was a little bit of like realness coming from the brother
Yeah,
spouting
that
off
was
in that
great.
moment, which I thought was really great.
I didn't know that at all, so I'm glad
Right,
you
thank
brought that
you.
up.
Something
Thank
new
you
every
very
day.
much. Well
I don't
played.
think I knew it was called that, but I know what laws you're
About
talking
that.
about. Yeah.
And then Jenny, the daughter, there's a lot of Jenny. I thought she was really great this episode.
Yeah, it was so nice to see a little
She
bit more
was
of her.
great,
as
yeah.
In
well.
the scene where she was at the party and she refuses to give her ID to the cops, do you think she was right to refuse that?
I
No.
don't know. I
mean-
don't know. Is she allowed to? Are you
It's
allowed
your
to refuse
ID.
if you're not doing anything wrong?
I think she
She
was
had
making
a
a
cup in her
statement.
hand, though.
That's what I agree.
She was making
Yeah.
a statement. She was saying, "You're kidding me. You do this to my brother. Now you're coming after me, and I'm just trying to have a good time with
Or
my
I
friends."
think-
It was her way of being like, "Really?"
Right.
I think she'd realise, because obviously, like they were saying about her brother, the fact that he didn't ask for a lawyer, the fact that he spoke too much. So I think as soon as a police
True.
officer spoke to her, she was like, I ain't saying nothing. I'm keeping everything to myself.
Right.
You don't get nothing from me
It
until I
reminds
get
me
a
of
lawyer.
that black actress in LA maybe a few months ago where she got stopped in Burbank and she was like in the car and she refused to give her ID. It was like, I can't remember what show she was from, but like it was this actress, it was this big thing in Los Angeles. It was crazy. But I thought that
There
was
you
a
go.
really incredible scene. And then we've got Carter and Aubry, who we didn't see a lot this episode. One of the things I love is that a lot of the scenes with Carter and Aubry are filmed in this like wishful thinking. They do this like flashback, but it's like their thoughts in their head, which I think is really cool. And then last week we thought it was Aubrey's uncle that she was calling because we said
Right,
uncle.
right. I
But
knew she said
we find out
uncle.
this week that it's actually Aubrey's foster dad.
Father.
Dad, yes.
Who comes to visit her and really wants the best for her. We met Regina King this week. Woo! Hello,
Yeah.
Regina
Yes,
King.
I love her.
Great to
We
see
find
her.
out that it's Carter's sister. She's a devout Muslim. What did you guys think of her character?
I hope that she's able to bring some change to Carter. You know, I think that seems like the older sister and she has her head on right. So hopefully,
I'm looking forward to it as well.
you know, I think that she's a little pushy. You can't really just try to
She's
make
a devout
someone
Muslim. She is,
change
of
their
course, very
religion.
pushy, yeah.
You know, so maybe she has to lay back and they can come to some medium, but hopefully
Yeah.
it works out.
I'm gonna lay this one out there. I grew up in Dubai, some people may know, so I did grow up in a very Muslim-orientated country, and I'm very excited to see her portrayal. I knew right away as soon as she said Assalamu alaikum, which actually means may God be upon you, I believe, or may peace be. I think it's may God be upon you. And as soon as she said that, I'd like to see how she's going to try and convert Carter as well to get rid
She's
of. It's
definitely
obviously
trying.
definitely massively against drugs, that religion, massively against alcohol, massively against the life that he's living right
Everything
now.
Carter's
Yeah.
all about, right?
Everything Carter is all
I
about.
love that
so
they're
it'd be nice.
bringing in the other family members now because it looked like the previews for next week. It's just like
family
now
with
everyone has
family
a
next
team. Everyone, and they're not fighting
They're
this
all-
battle
yeah.
alone. They all got a team, and I'm like, yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Well, we are going to get to all the families next week. Right now, we're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we will get to all of your fan questions and statements. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
just in case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
Just in case you missed it live.
Oh, just in case you missed it live. In case you missed it live, I'm doing something right now.
So we're all super excited.
So this is dancing.
So what would that be, like a 7?
I cannot. I literally cannot. You guys have got to get it together.
Don't hate the player, don't hate the game. Hate the contract you didn't get.
He's a coward. He's a giant chicken shit.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be like hurricane. Whoa.
Watch out for those girls. They are gagging them.
Hold the phone.
Hold on.
Bro.
The more brutal you are, the more power you have.
Right.
That was sexy, it was hot, it was heated, I was into it.
You are gonna be the most high-paid hooker in the world.
Go ahead and invite your friends and everybody. Tell your mama, tell her, go ahead and turn the stove off and get up on the computer so we can get on the stream.tv.
Thank you again for joining us, and until next week, bye-bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to the American Crime After Show here at theStream.tv. Don't forget, you can join us live every week on YouTube. You can follow our chats. We have some YouTube shout-outs. Mercedeh's got a couple names for you.
I got a couple people. We have T. Michael Rodriguez. Thank you so much for watching. And don't kill me if I mess this up. Lul A or Luai A. Thank you both.
Yeah. I think Luau A was the one who said, should I go to sleep or should I
Tune in
should
to
tune
the
in?
after show.
She's definitely tuning in.
Right.
We're definitely tuning in right now.
Thank
They chose the right
you.
spot. Okay, so we have a couple of Twitter shout-outs. Remember, you can ask us anytime on Twitter using the hashtag AmericanCrimeAS, and we'll be happy to respond back to you. Our first Twitter statement comes from @TAU @Tao Shell, CHEL_,
The
who
missus.
says, the missus, who says, this is from last week, why do white people blame black people when white people don't march for white people just because black people march for black people? This is in context to Barb's statement last week when she said, when she was talking about Al Sharpton. And she felt that, you know, she should be out there, you know, when black people rally around each other, they have people to rally around, but white people don't have people to rally around for each other. I think that's where that statement comes from.
I feel like that is coming from, like, the black people in this, and nowadays, in my opinion, almost see themselves as more of a minority than what they actually are nowadays. Like, they're saying that black people need to go on a march because they see themselves, like, they are considered a minority. Whereas nowadays, that's just not the case anymore. There are no minorities. Like, there's just as many black people as there are white people.
I feel like black people do the
now.
marches because these events are happening to the black people. I don't think that we hear the stories of these things happening to white people.
Right.
It's kind
That's
of
true.
turned around in American crime.
Right.
But
Do you think that people feel that if white people march with each other, that
It's a
their
huge
that their
show, yeah.
that their intentions are not good?
Yeah.
Well,
That
here's
their
the thing.
intentions
I
are
think
very-
if white people rallied together to march,
It would be
a huge deal negatively.
Yeah.
Right.
For-
That's what I'm saying.
It would be
that's
white
why-
power going
Well,
back to
why
the
do you guys
old
think
days.
that?
Yeah.
Because
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the fact of the matter. But if you've got a bunch of white people to start marching down the middle of Sunset Boulevard saying, like, white people supremacy, like white power, why are you arresting the white people?
If they're
That's
standing
gonna
for
be
that,
a
If they're
lot of
saying
it.
that,
yeah,
because
no,
black people
Right.
don't march saying black. I mean, this is not the Black Panthers rolling around. They're
Right.
not, they're not out there. They're not out there saying black,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff anymore. But it does beg the question: do you think that white people are, you know, if they get out there, that they're gonna, that we should be?
I think
like
it
Barb said,
happens
should
when
be a very equal
certain
thing?
news stories happen. You know, with
Well, the stuff going on in Ferguson right now, isn't
exactly.
it? Yeah,
it's like
Ferguson.
that's when segregation, I feel like, happens, and it's literally black against white, and you know. But I agree with what you're saying. Like,
It's so
I
difficult
don't see,
for us not to say something that we don't like mean in any offensive way.
Well, that
Right,
was a
right.
good
That
statement.
was
I know
good, yeah.
we all said at the beginning, we were like, these are good. These are good tonight. Okay, well, the next fan question or fan statement comes from Greg @GPitty19, who says, hashtag American Crime doesn't really have a character to root for. Everybody's a mess. I like it.
No, I'm rooting for Aubry. I'm still rooting for Aubry.
Do you feel
Really?
connected to a character that you are just rooting for
Yeah.
inside?
Yeah.
I think you feel like that about Barb.
Well, actually, I'm gonna spin it. I feel like that for Alonzo. He melts my heart.
Dude, yeah, so
He
sorry.
melts my heart. As a father, I feel for him and his storyline. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about you?
Alonzo, not so much. I mean, no, just because it's like, I mean, he's definitely a good parent.
Do you want to know what it is about him?
What?
He wants to be an American so bad, but he has absolutely no idea how to be an American.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's
Nobody's
claiming
taught
that
him.
he wants to be this like strong. What did he say? He's a Mexican American. They're just Mexican.
Right. He definitely has some
different, but
And
he doesn't
said
know
that
the
thing
laws.
on the TV.
Exactly, and he said that thing about on the TV
And last week
as well.
he said, you know, about the moment where he said, why did you let, or Jenny said, or the cop said, why did you let your son talk to him without
Because
a lawyer?
he
And he
didn't
said,
know.
I don't know.
If you're a
Yeah.
Mexican
Because he doesn't
American,
know.
you know
He
that.
doesn't know.
Right now, I'm Team Russ, by
Sorry,
the way.
yeah, go back. I
I'm
did
Team
interrupt
Russ
you.
for
Yeah?
some reason.
I think I'm
yeah.
Team Eve. Because I think she's the only one with good intentions about
True.
the whole thing.
Sure.
No,
You know,
you know, I'm
Penelope and
Team
Megan, she's
Tony.
great.
I'm Team Tony
Yeah.
right now.
Right now we seem
that
like to
guy's
be
getting
team
his
everybody.
ass kicked in jail.
Yeah.
That guy needs to. I feel like I was tweeting earlier, and Johnny actually tweeted me back. Pump up there. I was like, Johnny, when are you going to start kicking ass in juvie?
That's
and
so
he
funny.
was like, let's see where Tony goes. So I'm now excited. I've got a little bit
The
of it,
last
yeah.
fan question
Team
comes
Tony.
from @IamTimothyMike, who says, do you think conservative America will hate like this show due to its content?
Interesting.
I think that they should love the show because
Yeah.
it's so relevant. Why not? These
Here's
are
what I-
topics
here's
that
what- here's
we
what I-
can't be afraid to talk about.
But that's what I mean. People don't want to hear it nowadays. People don't want
Right,
to see
they
that.
don't want to hear the
People
reality.
don't wa-
And here's what I will say, and I'm pretty sure I'll get a lot of heat for this. Conservatives live in their own bubble.
Yeah.
True.
The perception to them is very much reality, and they don't really think outside the box all that much. You know, so it's very much black and white for them. There's no gray area. So I think that when they see realistic things, I'm sorry, conservative America, when you see realistic things, you don't want to own up to it. And I think that that's something that people are not wanting to face in this show.
And that's what-
2015
that-
people.
Exactly. That's what this is. This is shoving it in your face and being
Absolutely.
like, this is what's wrong with the world. Why can't we see it? And in my opinion, this is one of the first shows to really actually do that to us. It's not a Twilight or vampires. It's real.
Right.
No.
Now you're vampires.
Or the Flash, superheroes, but it's real. It's a real show, and that's really what's going to get this audience, and it's just going to start a feud
Yeah,
with people.
definitely.
Well, we definitely
I
have a
think there'll
couple.
be a lot of seasons to go because there's so much that you can cover on a show like this.
Right.
Exactly.
And as
ending.
Felicity Huffman said, who plays Barb, she said, wait till about episode 11
Oh, wow.
To really
to
judge.
really
Yeah.
judge the show and her character, because there's a lot of hate out there.
And
we want to give a couple of Twitter shout outs to ABC Publicity, who gave us some love earlier today, as well as @American Crime TV, the American Crime TV official Twitter handle. Go ahead and subscribe to the show if you are watching tonight. And if you're watching us taped, follow us on Twitter, send us questions using the hashtag @AmericanCrimeAS. Lots of episodes coming up, a few more episodes. They're doing 13 this season. Like I said, stay with us, and we will see you all next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
For more of the American Crime After Show, subscribe right here to theStream.tv.